Chapter 132, profoundly familiar with talisman inscriptions, the Sadist Plan, a great battle against Liu Changfeng II. A mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator dueling with his swordsmanship. Against a key cultivation perfection cultivator using talisman inscriptions, how can this kid's swordsmanship be so powerful? In the distance, a group of elders from the main peak were all exclaiming in surprise. Which disciple can withstand such swordsmanship other than Liu Changfeng and Chu Shanyu? 1. Elder Guy, your disciple is impressive. Not only does he cultivate both sword and blade, but his physical body is also incredibly strong. An unknowing smile played across Elder Guy's face. Where had Han Yi learned his swordsmanship from? This move seems very familiar. My disciple Chu Shanyu often uses it. Elder Yu from Ziwei Peak pondered, a thoughtful look passing over her elegant face. She had originally thought that Han Yi visited Ziwei Peak only because he was interested in Chu Shanyu, and wanted to take this opportunity to spend time alone with her. But she hadn't expected him to actually master this swordsmanship. Han Yi really come here to practice his swordplay? This could mean there was still a chance. With such an extraordinary talent as Han Yi, she could introduce him to a few female cultivators. Her sisters had many daughters who she could potentially introduce him to. Seeing the duel conclude swiftly and decisively, the presiding elder was slightly surprised before loudly announcing, Han Yi victorious. The disciples below were chattering excitedly, still engrossed in the duel they had just witnessed. They had clearly seen Han Yi's awe-inspiring swordsmanship. The intensity of it was no less than Liu Changfeng's. His sword could suppress any cultivator in the same realm. It appeared that the top three of the inner sect would provide a fierce competition. Han Yi moved to the side, silently absorbing attributes. J'attribute acquired, profoundly familiar with talisman inscriptions plus LJ. J'attribute acquired, profoundly familiar with talisman inscriptions plus LJ. J'attribute acquired, profoundly familiar with talisman inscriptions plus LJ. Profoundly familiar with talisman inscriptions blue, your speed at making talismans increases sharply, and you gain the ability to craft profound rank talisman inscriptions. Han Yi was quite pleased with this attribute. With cultivation of spiritual plants and alchemy, and now the addition of talisman making, another source of wealth had opened up for him. Now he needed a little rest, and then to continue tomorrow. His following opponents would not be so easy. He would be up against formidable enemies like Hua Yuchen, Liu Changfeng, and he had to prepare well for it. He glanced at the audience seats, only to find that Chu Shanyu had already left at some point. Always the loner. Younger disciples at the inner sect ended their duels quicker due to fewer participants. Han Yi quickly arrived at the ascending immortal platform where the outer sect was located to check on the situation at Pure Yang Peak. And he discovered something unexpected. First place? Hania stared at the ranking on the screen in surprise. The ranking of Pure Yang Peak in the outer sect big competition was indeed first place. What's going on with this year's outer sect of Pure Yang Peak? There's a formidable, luminescent screen of the ascending immortal platform. Numerous brutal battles unfolded. There were glorious victories and crushing defeats. Among them Han Yi found the figure of Wang Daniu. Wang Daniu on the screen stood as tall and immovable as a mountain, his dense yellow magical power radiating oppression. No one could resist his punches after he had successively defeated 8 challengers, awaiting a new round of adjustment. Stronger opponents would be arranged for him next. Han Yi was very satisfied with Dan Naya's performance. Chuckling, with Dan Naya's current strength, placing in the top 3 should pose no issue. Even the first place is not impossible. Among the outer sect disciples, foundation establishment cultivators completely dominated. Unless they were up against a once-in-a-century prodigy like Chu Shanyu, no one could defeat him. Wait, that's... Han Yi glimpsed a figure in one of the screens, a lady in a blue dress with a ponytail, casually unleashing a frosty true ki, turning a disciple into an ice sculpture. The lady on the screen was none other than Ning Yujing, his junior sister Ning. Junior sister Ning is not only talented but also full of tricks. She's very adept at ice element techniques. Han Yi seemed quite surprised. It was only when dusk fell and the night drew close that the duels in the outer sect finally ended. As soon as Ning Yujing exited the ascending immortal platform, she cast her spiritual sense out and saw Han Yi with a glance and a barely perceptible smile at the corner of her mouth. She approached him, greeting Han Yi with a soft smile. "Senior brother Han Yi, what brought you here?" "I came to see how you guys were doing." Han Yi responded, his gaze scanning junior sister Ning's cultivation level, only to unexpectedly find she had made another breakthrough. Could one really progress so quickly with the ice spirit root? In just 1 year, she had managed to break through 4 realms and directly entered key cultivation perfection. That was too incredible. "Follow me, senior brother." Ning Yujing placed her finger on her lips, made a shushing gesture. She was looking around very cautiously, making sure no one was paying attention before leading Han Yi into the night. As Han Yi followed her, he wore a puzzled look, quietly trailing behind her. The fragrance lingering in the air was from Ning Yujing's passing. Following her lead, they jumped over several mountain peaks and arrived at a deserted cliff with waterside pavilions, lofts, rooftops, and a peaceful moonlight. The setting was undeniably elegant. Looking toward the cliff, Han Yi saw a familiar and beautiful silhouette and his face took on a surprised look. "Miss Chu, why is she here?" Han Yi looked at Ning Yujing questioningly. "Wait and watch the show," Ning Yujing said, a playful smile on her face. Chu Shanyu was seen holding the Kangbi sword, standing on top of an attic. Her long black hair fluttered in the wind, creating an exceptionally beautiful scene. A young man, looking refined and cultured in his 20s, stood opposite her, seemingly engaged in a conversation with Chu Shanyu. "It's him." Han Yi recognized the man. It was the intersect senior brother, Liu Chengfeng. Even though his skills weren't the best, he held his own.